Hey everybody, just following up a little bit on the saga of the actuator handle for the cylinder drain, cylinder cocks. I've finished the work. I'll show that to you in a second, and I'm very pleased with the way it works, and I'll explain why. I'm not really thrilled with the way it looks, but you'll see why there in a second too. So here we have the original handle, and then you can see I've added the longer one. My original plan was to remove the little handle and replace it with this large one. And I got to thinking about a couple of things, a couple of problems with that, is that moving a long handle back and forth underneath, there's a lot of linkage and piping and so forth underneath the locomotive, and I didn't know if there would be enough room. There might have been, but I got to thinking that it might be the simplest, most expedient thing if I could just basically, I think a carpenter would call this a scarf joint. So I've kind of scarfed on a longer piece of 1/4-inch steel, square steel. I used some 632 screws, basically drilled and tapped in the new piece and drilled clearance holes for the screws inside the existing handle. So it's not beautiful, but again, nobody's going to see this with the cab, as we pointed out before. That's what the purpose of this masking tape is, the painter's tape, is to show where the cab handle is, and excuse me, the window opening. So with an easy flick, you can close the cylinder cocks all the way. Easy flick back, you'll open them up for getting going. So I think from an ease of operation standpoint, this is a win. Certainly from getting the project started and done in a couple of hours, that's also a win. And it all fits neatly together. I'm going to pull the camera underneath here. Probably, let me put a little flashlight on. I don't even know how well you're going to be able to see any of this stuff, but I've got, there's double nuts there to keep the adjusting arm secure, the little pivot rod down here below, and then the body of the extension. And I'm using a pivot rod rather than, say, a Bowden cable. I believe a Bowden cable is the name for those flexible cables like you had for automatic or for a manual choke in an old automobile. That would have been another good choice. It would have been easy to route, but this is a piece of brass rod that I bent, and it goes all the way down and actuates. Let me show you how clear this will show up in here. But one of the things, if you noticed in some of the videos, Fred had commented that the cylinder cocks weren't closing. So here is the linkage down here, and right now this is in the open position because this little ramp pushes up against a ball that seals the bottom of the cylinder. When it's down, when the ramp is low, then that's when the cocks are, if you can see that switch there, now they're closed. So the ball, the little rod falls down, the ball falls down into place, and the cylinder cocks are closed. So what I did when I added the longer handle, I also lengthened the stroke. If you saw the other video, you see there's a notch that I cut in an arc on the inside of this device, and so I lengthened the throw so it could be fully closed. So hope that makes sense, but I'm happy about that. Let me set the camera down here, and hopefully you can still see. This is, I'll tell you what I was talking about before with the cab. I'm going to take this tape off since we don't need it anymore. Let me pick up the cab and set it into position. Here's the cab itself. It's lightweight, it's aluminum, That was, I did several videos about how I put that together. And let's see, set it back into position here. Alright, I'm not going to screw it down right now, but I wanted y'all to be able to see, you know, how nice it is to be able to remove that thing and bring this around. I know I need to get a GoPro camera for stuff like this, but now you can see the big silver rod there. That's the cylinder drains, and it doesn't interfere with any of the piping, and it should be very, very easy to actuate. See, sticking my hand in. It's closed for going forward and open for being stationary or when you're first starting. So hope that makes sense. I hope that you found that interesting and helpful, and thanks again for watching, and Happy New Year.